Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Caroline Stevens speaking, and now we're live on YouTube and Facebook. So, good afternoon, everybody. It's Caroline Stevens, Seeking the Truth, and in our East Midlands studio, I've got Eric Heaps. You'll remember him from part one. We were talking about corruption with insurance companies and the courts. What have you got for us in part two, Eric?
Well, in part two, I want to discuss courts, mainly mayors.
Yeah.
And our corrupt, and obviously what's got to do with Lisbon Treaty, which people don't even realise it's got to do with our laws at all. The amount of people that tell me it doesn't, which you can clearly prove it does, is beyond belief. But my son was with a lass who was mentioned in J report.
And the J report was an abuse report.
Abuse of Rotherham school children. Rotherham children.
Was that the one? Was it 1,400 children?
16, I think.
1,600.
But that was just 1,600 kids.
That's quite a lot. That's 1,600 families.
When you take it into context, if you've got burgled, this is what people don't realise, and the actual enormity of the offence. If you went out and you burgled somebody's house, or somebody burgled your house, and then they went and burgled next doors, and then next doors they get them for free burglaries, even though it's done in one night, it's free burglaries.
No.
So how can they say in government and in Parliament and in all these reports that 1,600 kids got raped? If 1,600 kids got raped and they were raped 7 days a week by 30 men a night, that's not 1,600 rapes. That's billions. Because each rape is a different offence.
Yes.
So if you've got raping one girl 7 days a week, that's not one rape.
True.
So why
they're classifying as one rape?
One rape. That is what the government says it's classified as, one rape. In Rotherham, I worked out over 16 years, over 10 years, so it's been going off 10 years, 1,600 people raped 30 times, 7 days a week. That's 240 million rapes. Just in Rotherham alone. 240 million. Not 1,600, 240 million. Do you see how they hide this stuff?
Absolutely.
But let's go back to my son's case. My son was with his last week's J report. She had a kid when she was 12-year-old. They took that child. They've also, the NHS has removed all birth acknowledgement of that child. It went to another family, and they dropped a thing in Rotherham called Dropbox. This Dropbox, you get letters from your kids. Now, I've read some of these letters, and these letters aren't from no 4-year-old, and they're typed out. They're not from no 4-year-old. But when they were investigating J report, they bugged me some house because this lass was in court for giving evidence for a judge sleeping with a 12-year-old. And she was talking to my son about it. And they know my son was asking me questions, so I was telling them. And now they were getting to find this information out. Well, it turns out his house was bugged. I've actually got the books.
So the police bugged.
No, Regional Crime Squad.
Regional Crime Squad, right? Okay.
Cover-up team bugged my son's house.
Right, to try to put something on him.
No, to listen to what they were talking about because she was in court. Now they knew she had a diary, what were written when she was 8-year-old to 12-year-old. When she went to court, the case got dismissed. It's gone, and nobody knows how they knew where this diary were. Turns out they bugged his house. Them little window anti-tamper things weren't no anti-tamper things. I stick them down. They were bugged. I had them tested. They were bugged. Listening devices, two-way listening devices. I got about 7 of them, I think, 7 or 8 of them. They also put a box in his house, which they believed was a tamper box, a panic box, which also listens to your house 24/7. So they go upstairs with panic box, downstairs with listening bugs on window, listening devices on window. So they knew everything they were talking about. Now, when this lass was telling my son about this diary and what she wrote in this diary, my son told me. This lass didn't know my son told me. Well, she will now, but he told me. Because he was asking me questions on it and how to go about it and how to comfort him and stuff like this. So we had good chats, and I'm bring straight off a few things. So then when he was telling his partner, this 12-year-old lass who is now growing up, she was saying she was seeing her solicitor, and when she went to court, even though they showed pictures, this 12-year-old lass in court in a school uniform, because she got a bit of makeup on, they turned around and said, well, she looked 18. There's no 12-year-old look 18.
No.
No makeup can make no 12-year-old look 18 in a school uniform. You understand? So anyway, then they found out my son was getting too close. They went for my son's kids, using his ex-girlfriend as a tool. So then when he found out, we went mad. We found out through people we worked for that they were laundering money through a lad book in Sheffield.
Who was laundering money?
Police and social services. Because social services get paid £23,000 for every child they take. Every 5 children they take, they get £65,000. Common knowledge.
When you say every 5 children, you mean on top of the 23,000? Surely not.
Yes.
Well, it's like a bonus for every 5 children.
They get £23,000 for every child they take and put into care. When they get 5 children or more, they get a bonus of £65,000.
Social workers get that.
Yeah.
Is that just Yorkshire, or is that just?
This countrywide. It's shocking. The information, what is actually not to see it. But £65,000 they get. I've got screenshots of it. I'll show you. £65,000 they get, and it come out beginning of this year. I think there was a big thing on it beginning of this year. We're all on YouTube, Facebook, and lot. When I were in all them groups, I were in 362 groups, I believe, on Facebook, which Musson has created. Me, Steve, William, Zora. Then you've got to go down every rabbit hole you can find.
Absolutely.
You can't just go down one. And let me tell you, I've been on that many rabbit holes while I've been in this last 4 years that I literally knitted country back together again. I've been down that many, back up that many. It's unreal. The stuff you'll find out when you actually look into it it's just phenomenal. Stories you hear people getting locked up week after week, false information, false, everything's false, courts are false, charges are false, no evidence, and they're just chucking them in prison, just go. And you think that your solicitors and your barristers are there to protect you. They're not. They're complicit. I have got a statement here which proves my son, the person who made the statement in the first place, the allegations, his ex-girlfriend, on 17th of May 2018, clearly text messages saying she lied. Text message saying she lied. So why is my son still in prison? He went to CPS. He's been in prison since 2018, 17th of May 2018. The police have had this. Now, when somebody's been 9 years for attempted murder, then why ain't this being investigated? They've investigated it. They sent it off to CPS. CPS, although have found her guilty and dealt with it, says it's got no bearing on my son's case. Hold on, she's admitted to lying in my son's case. Why has it got no bearing in my son's case? She's admitted she's lied. She's admitted she's lied about my son.
That's perjury.
Yeah, but why can the CPS do her for defence and saying they dealt with it, but it's got no bearing on my son's case and his mate's case? What do you mean it's got no bearing?
So he's been out for 9 years.
Yeah, son. Let me tell you, they took my son. This kid was supposed to be stabbed, kicked right back at the van, his head stamped on, beat to a pulp, nearly dead. But yet they found no evidence in my van whatsoever. Forensics found no evidence in my. In fact, the statement of forensics in court was, well, if he's cleaned this van, he's done it than us.
That's not evidence. What happens about corpus? Habeas corpus. You've got to find the body.
Every time the judge, this is what got me. I've been in that court most of my life. Young lad, riding motorbikes up in that barn lad. It's like being we were in court every other week for some silly stupid offence. Now we know how it works. You get your solicitor does he tells a story, goes to panel, your judges, or if you win not guilty, it goes to your what they call them 12 jury. Goes to your jury, and then they decide. Now, when we went in, we know that there can be nobody on jury what
is connected.
Is connected. So when the police officer sat across the courtroom and the papers aren't allowed in, and the judge says, on this bench, swore them all, and one woman actually passed a letter to the judge saying she knows the Bobby who sat across the room. Now, let me get this right. The woman on the bench knows the Bobby across the room, so that must mean she's a civil servant. If you are a civil servant, you can't serve on jury.
Well, when she says she knows
From work.
From work.
From work. She knows the woman from work. So what was she doing on that jury for a start? B, other one is, this lad was out drinking, who got beat up, he was out drinking in a pub in Swinton, what is packed, holds over 500 people. His excuse for not coming in court was that he simply gets confused and panics being in a room for a room with more than 12 people. But yeah, exactly in every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He knocks around in the gang at 60, 70. But he can't to like get it done, so he had to come into court and not do a video. And judge told him, sit down and shut up. In fact, he actually tried to do him 4 times for contempt, and every time they said a word, they kicked the jury out, told him to disregard the last statement, and tore a strip off him. His closing statement went allowed no witnesses, even though the kid who got beat up was thrown out in a pub for passing drugs in this pub where he wasn't welcome. There were a big thing between Mexborough and Swinton. Mexborough and Swinton have always been fighting against each other. I've been a doorman on doors in Swinton for 20 years. Let me tell you, they fight against each other, always the same. So when you come from Mexborough and you start trying to sell drugs, you're going to get. He got thrown out this pub for trying to sell drugs. Bouncers for him out, 2 bouncers. We took them 2 bouncers to court. What was going to give statements and made statements to solicitors saying that they witnessed this kid getting thrown out and 2 lads falling out. Yeah, which obviously 2 lads went and gave him a good argument. They then blamed my son for it, took my van, did full test on it, found nothing. No hairs, no skin, no blood, nothing. I mean, nothing. The only fingerprints they found and DNA they found in that man was mine and his. That was it. So as a kid being took in this van, kidnapped, beat up, stabbed, kicked off to death, left for dead, and then disappeared. It doesn't make sense. No. The actual closing statement, Mr. O'Shea was in the court as well. Well, he got told he was using a different book. Every time he tried to ask why he couldn't stay, the judge says we are using a different law, but we know there's only 2 law books. One which is English law and one which is taken on by the Lisbon Treaty, because it goes against the EU. When both barristers stood up to get a closing statement, it was, well, I don't know what I went, literally, I don't know what I'm doing here. I've never seen a court like this. I don't know where to start, no trial whatsoever, and I've never been in a court like it in my life. And within 15 minutes, they're both are saying that, and other solicitors are saying is, and give 15 minutes to go out while jury come to a conclusion. All finding guilty. Yet with no evidence, no forensic evidence, no solicitors, no barristers been on to talk. Then what they did is they sentenced the Ealdorman judge remand. Now it's corruption. Judge remand. The Ealdorman judge remand for 3 months. Bear in mind that you've only got 28 days to appeal your sentence. So by holding him on remand for 3 months on judge remand, the appeal's gone. Then the solicitors who were dealing with it, John Ford, you'd expect every solicitor to jump on this because, let's face it, if it were a no-win, no-fee, to be worth millions. You see what I'm saying? The amount of corruption that this has caused could be worth millions. But there's not one solicitor in the country, even though it was not there.
And on that point, my Facebook live stream has been interrupted permanently, it would look as if. So I think we'll round this part 2 off by just saying that there is not one solicitor that will take case on, and that your son is still in prison.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. This has been Speaking the Truth. Now we're back on again. We're just rounding this part 2 off just to say and just to emphasize that there is no legal team that would ever be prepared to take your son's case on.
Yeah.
Because, we are working under the Lisbon Treaty. We are working under the EU Constitution. You can be found guilty, and there's a lot of evidence that is not necessarily shared into court, destroyed, actually.
They tell you what you're getting done for. You go to court, you're not allowed no barristers, no solicitors, no evidence, no witnesses, nothing. They just put you in court, tell you what you're getting, and off you go. And then you go up to a prison, what they control. So when I go visit my son, they stop his canteen and stop his money search. You can't even buy no vapes or no air gels. So then he has to borrow, which then gets him in trouble. That's how they try and kill you in prison. They try and get you.
And of course, Serco is involved with looking after prisoners, and Serco is looking after building asylum, immigration, accommodation.
Yeah.
Funny
Also,
Serco, this is the New World Order company. It's not a coincidence, isn't this? No. And it was it Rupert Soames or Robert Soames? One of the Soameses is the chief executive. It gets very confusing. Rupert or Robert, it's one of them. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's been Caroline Stevens Seeking the Truth, live on YouTube. Strangely, this is the only live morning, and we've had no comments on the YouTube channel, which is, again, a bit strange.
That does surprise me. No. I've just showed you my phone. I've just turned my phone. I've turned it back on straight away. Silent login. Tracker, lock, all on my phone. They don't want me talking. They have destroyed my life. Destroyed my life.
Well, we'll talk about that in part 3. Thanks, Eric. And, failing this, we also have a backup camera that's filming everything. So please make sure that if you want to keep any of this footage safe from the authorities, back it all up too. And it's all on private servers. We've got the evidence. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Goodbye for now.
That's just going flat. Question is which